It's January 15, 2009, and 150 passengers are waiting at New York's LaGuardia Airport for a flight to Charlotte, North Carolina, an hour and 45 minutes away. Although the weather is frosty, the skies are clear, and Captain Chesley Sullenberger promises passengers a smooth flight. At 3:25 p.m., the U.S. Airways plane peels off the runway and begins a smooth climb. A routine flight, which by this time Sullenberger had completed hundreds of, will take about 100 seconds. What follows is unprecedented in aviation history. Aviation experts agree that if almost anyone other than Captain Sullenberger had been sitting in the cockpit that day, it would have become the black day of aviation. But Sully, as everyone calls the pilot, was not a typical commercial flight captain. He excelled at school at a young age, became a member of Mensa at 12 thanks to his high IQ, and began learning to fly a light aircraft at 16. When he was 18, he entered the United States Military Air Academy and earned his bachelor's degree there, along with the award for the best aviator in his class. After completing his training, he went on to earn a master's degree and became a fighter pilot in the U.S. Air Force. And so Sully is gaining experience in Europe, the Pacific, and America. But he's not only a great aviator, he's also a keen theorist. In his spare time, he's self-educated in air safety, retrieving transcripts of cockpit interviews from crashed planes and serving on a commission that investigates military aviation accidents. By the time he starts working for Pacific Southwest Airlines, which later became U.S. Airlines, in 1980, he is already an extremely experienced pilot. And although he carries nearly 1 million passengers and spends 20,000 hours in the air over the next few years, he makes history with Flight 1549, which lasts just 6 minutes. Shortly before 3:30 p.m., the plane, codenamed Cactus 1549, lifts off, and all the people on board, including the 3 flight attendants, Captain Sullenberger and his co-pilot Jeffrey Skiles, can admire the views from the windows below. The skyscrapers of Manhattan and the Hudson River, which forms the border between New York and New Jersey. But soon, everyone will feel a strong shaking. No one knows what's happening. But smoke is quickly smelling and flames are shooting out of both engines. And then, just an ominous silence. The silence that should normally be disturbed by the noise of engines. Both pilots will know the cause of the malfunction before the accident occurs. About 100 seconds after takeoff, at an altitude of less than 900 meters, they notice a flock of geese just ahead. Any reaction is impossible. Such a maneuver is simply beyond the capability of a fully occupied Airbus of almost 40 meters in length. The 2 engines, which have sucked in several birds, almost immediately stop working.
This is Cactus 1539. Hit birds. We've lost thrust on both engines, returning back towards LaGuardia.
On the other side of the radio sits flight operator Patrick Harton. He immediately starts offering the crew alternatives. The first option is to return to LaGuardia Airport. Runway 13 is available. Sullenberger replies that they are unable to do so. While he and Skiles try to restart the engines and review the emergency procedures manual, Harton contacts Teterboro Airport across the river in New Jersey from the flight tower. Sully initially agrees but soon tells the operator of his shocking decision. This is a recording of their conversation.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus?
Then the connection is broken. Although the disbelieving operator continues to look for a way out and offers another airport in New Jersey, Newark, Sullenberger is no longer responding. Sully then says only one sentence to the terrified people on board during the entire flight.
This is the captain. Brace for impact.
Flight attendants, Donna, Doreen, and Sheila then shout safety instructions over and over again.
Heads down, stay down. Brace, brace, brace. Heads down, stay down.
Meanwhile, a barrage of warning messages blares through the cockpit. The onboard system alerts pilots that if they don't get the machine back in the air, there will be a crash. The plane picks up speed and loses altitude rapidly. It flies just 270 meters above the George Washington Bridge. And moments later, it comes. It really is almost like a miracle. The emergency landing is successful and the plane remains afloat. But it immediately begins to take on water. The flight attendants know they need to hurry and open the emergency exits above the wings. Unfortunately, one of the passengers in the back attempts to do the same. But the open tailgate only speeds up the water rush. Some passengers are waiting for rescue on the inflatable slides, others are standing on the wings. Others even try to swim to shore in fear of the explosion. But the river is wide and the water is only 5 degrees. The current carries the plane southwards and at a temperature below freezing. The passengers, soaked but not seriously injured, wait for help. It comes incredibly fast. While Captain Sullenberger double-checks the cabin to make sure no one is left in the plane, now full of water, the ferries that routinely ferry New Yorkers to and from New Jersey converge on the wreckage. They lower rope ladders and help hypothermic people on board. It takes just 24 minutes to get them to safety. However, it will take much longer than the rescue operation itself to verify the fate of the individual passengers. The situation is complicated by the fact that the passengers have been taken to hospitals on both sides of the Hudson River. But before midnight, the much-awaited official report comes. The final balance of the emergency landing is 0 casualties and no life-threatening injuries. All 155 people are rescued. In the days that followed, Chesley Sullenberger became a hero of unprecedented proportions. The media, politicians, and ordinary people on the street all talk about his emergency landing as a miracle on the Hudson River. For never before has a transport plane failed both engines at such a low altitude. Landing on water without a single life lost is a unique feat. However, the National Transportation Safety Board, which will immediately begin investigating the incident, is taking a much more hesitant stance. Computer simulations suggest that the pilots actually had enough time to return safely to both LaGuardia and Teterboro. However, it turns out later that the programmers in their models counted on an immediate reaction of the crew, which is simply not possible in such a marginal situation. When they factored into the model the time it took the captain, co-pilot, and control tower to decide on the alternatives, the conclusion was clear. If Sully tried to return, the machine would inevitably crash into one of the high-rise buildings in densely populated Manhattan. Chesley Sullenberger was thanked for his maneuver by New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg and Presidents George Bush and Barack Obama. He later wrote in his book, "It was as if I had been sending small regular deposits to an imaginary bank of experience all my life. And after 42 years, in January 2009, I withdrew it all at once.